Kia ora, this is Arun Jacob, your friendly and frank licensed New Zealand immigration advisor, as well as education advisor back on air for live from New Zealand, from the beautiful city of Hamilton. It's been about 4 weeks since I have not done a live session, and that's because I have been traveling and I was in India for almost 10 days. That'll probably give it away. I was also after I came back to New Zealand, I was also spending some time with my family. We went on a lovely holiday to a nearby town from Hamilton called Raglan, which is about 1 hour in that direction, which is a seaside resort. So, yeah, we went to have some family time because I was away for quite some time in India. And then I got back, and it was good to catch up with the kids and the wife and spend some time together. So here I am back again, and upon I promised my team I'm going to wear one of their gift shirts they gave to me because I also celebrated my birthday just after I had finished it here in New Zealand when I went to India, and my amazing, wonderful team gave me lots of great gifts, including this lovely blue kurta. And so I promised them that day when I got it that I'm going to wear it and do my next live session. So that's the reason for my what do you say? Normal black T-shirt with AJV not being present today. But hey, look, it's lovely to mix it up a little bit, I guess. And as always, I'm gonna start by sharing my license there with you. That is the license that was given to me by the government of New Zealand, which gives me the title of called licensed immigration advisor for New Zealand. And with the ever increasing changes that have been happening for in the immigration landscape, I think it is important that all of you wonderful people out there who desire to study in New Zealand or migrate to New Zealand or set up businesses here in New Zealand or or pursue some other interests, get honest, genuine, and professional advice from people who know what they're talking about and can read and understand the immigration law and provide good solutions to all of you. So that's the reason the government came out with a law which protects migrants, and I'm fortunate to be one of those licensed immigration advisors for New Zealand. There are not a lot of us around, so it's quite a privilege to have that license. And besides myself, we also have my fantastic colleague, Mary Joseph, who is also a licensed immigration advisor in the team. And very recently, one of my other colleagues called Tulika Mehra has also got a license. And so she is going to make her debut on these live sessions this week. For those of you who follow our work, you probably would have seen that Mary and I come live, and now we have another person who's also going to be becoming part of this gang of licensed immigration advisors coming live and talking about all the different options that are available for all of you. Okay, cool. Now, as always, the rules are simple. The rules are that if you are an AJV student or client, please mention that in your question so that it will be easier for me to answer that. If you're not an AJV student or client, but you would like to get an answer from me, please go ahead and ask a question, but please share your contact number so that we can get back to you later and engage you in a discussion and provide you with all the right information. And based on that, you can take a decision whether New Zealand is the destination that you are looking for or not. And if it is, then of course you can speak to our professional team, which is 35 people across New Zealand and India at the moment. And we hope to very quickly expand into some other countries as well. But at the moment, we are present in New Zealand and in India. And yeah, we would love to, yeah, keep expanding and providing this information. So if you're not an AJV client, please mention that fact that you are actually not an AJV client and share your contact number so that we can then get back to you. And if you are an AJV client, then please mention it so that I can give a proper answer. So the we I'm going live on Facebook on our AJV Global page, which is where you can ask your questions, and I'm also going live on YouTube. Two channels. One is my channel called Arun Jacob, and I'm also going live on our AJV Global channel, which is also been beginning to attract a lot of traction. And so I'm actually going live. I normally also tend to go live on Instagram, but I think in my hurry to get on online today, I forgot to set up my mobile phone, and so that's all right. We could probably post this eventually to the Instagram feed as well. All right, and as always, I am supported by my wonderful team that is backing me up from different parts of the world, and they were all kind of going to give me the feedback about what's happening. Now, before I don't see any questions yet. Team, let me know if there are any questions because I know sometimes they get hidden in some other part of this video, and we've had a bit of an issue sometimes trying to get to those questions. But in the meantime, I might want to talk about some of the things that have been bothering some prospective clients and students who have been wanting to come to New Zealand and ask about some of the recent changes that have been occurring. So, one of the most important changes that has been considered, contemplated by the government of New Zealand is related to the work visa. So, the government is planning to combine the existing six different temporary work visa pathways and replace them with one particular work visa. The details of this policy are not out yet, and once the details of the policy come in, then I think we will be able to dissect it a bit more and provide you more information and how it affects your personal situation. But I think, in a sense, what they're planning to do is to replace the six existing temporary work visas and make them into one work visa. And we are still waiting for the details of the policy. And also, employers who are currently known as accredited employers, they will now have to increase the pay that they are going to pay to people to whom they provide an employment. So the at the moment it is 55,000 is the minimum pay that they will have to give to anybody that they're providing an offer of employment, but they're proposing that it will now go up to $79,560 per annum, which is a reasonably steep hike, but that is the way it is being done, and it's for a 40-hour week. And by 2021, all employers in New Zealand who want to sponsor the recruitment of migrants, or even if it is even a single one, that will include AJB as well, because we also do hire a few of our staff members who are still not residents of New Zealand. Every employer in New Zealand by 2021 must become accredited. So that is one more of the key points that the government is proposing. And I think most of this is because the government has been reviewing about exploitation of migrants, and how some employers are actually paying low rates of pay and not the genuine rate for the job. So and basically it's also to ensure that only migrants are recruited for genuine jobs, and employers are also of course being encouraged to train and employ local New Zealanders. But the and probably the most and the last thing that they're trying to do away with something called the ANSCO, which is the Australia New Zealand Standard Classification of Occupations, and they are trying to get rid of that particular criteria, which is what was being used to judge whether a job is skilled or not. So that because the ANSCO matching the offers to the ANSCO sometimes can be a bit complex, and and also there is a bit of inconsistency because the way people different people interpret it is can be done in different ways. So yeah, because of that, I think the government is also deciding to do that. So, yeah, that is the main things that is what the government is proposing. And I know there have been a few queries already sent to me while I was traveling in India. I got a few questions and I was not able to answer them. And also because I was still in the midst of my travels, I couldn't go online and talk about it. But at this stage, most of these policy changes seem to be kind of leaning towards the accredited employer, which is already a set of people or employers who are already accredited by Immigration New Zealand. And but till the new policy kicks in and the new policy details come in, I think it will be business as usual. And I think the other thing that the government is planning to do is also have separate dialogues and discussions with particular regions and particular industry sectors, especially like aged care and construction and dairy, which are very critical to New Zealand. And of course, it can't be one policy applies to everybody. So that's the other thing that they are trying to do. So yeah, that is some of the changes that have been happening. And okay, so in the meantime, I'm not able to see any questions coming up on my Facebook feed. That's probably because I'm just looking at the wrong tab or whatever. So Jyoti and Sai, if you could start pasting the queries from YouTube into this particular box, it will be useful for me. But in case you can't do it, what I might do is just go to YouTube itself directly and start reading out some of these questions. And right, so here we are. First question is from somebody called Vinny Chandra, who has asked a question on YouTube. And Vinny, it says, why are they taking too much time to give visas? Hey, Vinny, this has been an ongoing concern for not only applicants like yourself, but it has frankly been an ongoing concern for the government of New Zealand as well. I've explained this quite a few many times in my past few sessions, but unfortunately, I think what has happened is that two things happened at the same time. There was a reorganization of the immigration department, and also they started closing down certain offices. And at the same time, there was a massive spurt in the number of applications that were coming through. And that's the reason there was a bit of a delay. And I think, everybody is kind of working very hard to try and address this particular situation. I think in the next month or so it should ease off, but just hang in there, be patient, and I'm sure you'll get your visas quickly. All right. I don't know if you have applied through news through AJV, Vinny. If you have, just reach out to your visa officer from AJV, and we should be able to, push and see what I can get. But you've already mentioned you're not an agent client, so I'd say go ahead and check with the person or the agency that put your application, and hopefully it will come through. All right, so cool. Next one is from Srinivasan. He says, hello sir, I'm from India. I just received a firm offer for MS in construction project management in the University of Auckland. If I apply now, how long will it take, since my intake is from March? Okay. So, Srinivasan, you have also mentioned that you're not an AGV student, and I have a particular take on people who are coming for project management courses here in New Zealand. And one of my suggestions is, do not take up a project management sort of a course if you do not have adequate work experience. Because what happens is, when you come to a course that is called project management, you might end up falling into that trap where you will. It's a very good course, undoubtedly, but project management is for people who have certain amount of work experience, and after that, and I'd say at the minimum 5 to 8 years of work experience is what is required. And once you have that kind of experience under your belt, then you could, of course, come out and do a course in project management. Otherwise, you'll be a young fellow with no not adequate experience, who has completed a project management course, and Immigration Department of New Zealand will want to see that you actually get a job as a project manager only, for you to be able to get further work visas and eventually get your residency, which I'm thinking would be your eventual goal. So which is why I personally discourage, and my entire team also talks at length. If you were an AJV student, we would have engaged you to understand what is your level of experience, so on and so forth, and then put forward the right amount of the right course for you. But if you don't have adequate experience, Srinivasan, this might be not be such a good thing for you to pursue. And I would strongly recommend, because you've shared your number, one of our team members will get in touch with you. We will talk to you and possibly put some other options in front of you. Take a look. And like I said, it is very important that you guys and girls choose the right course, because otherwise you can come here and day in and day out, myself and my colleagues, Mary and Virginia, and we all of us, we keep receiving a lot of queries from students who are already present in New Zealand, who came to New Zealand without adequate counseling, and they got into the wrong courses because some guy who didn't know what he was talking about, suggested this particular course. And unfortunately, smart young students are also sometimes falling for uh, the either the level of the course or how important it sounds, and so on and so forth. But the problem is, it is not the level of the course or how important it sounds, because going forward you will need to make sure that you get a job that's relevant to it. And if you're going to do something in project management, then you will need to get a job as a project manager. And which company will give a young guy with not enough experience, who is still new in New Zealand and probably still adjusting to the culture, and will straight away provide with a project management kind of a role? I'm not saying it is impossible, but sometimes it is not very easy as well, and which is why we are very careful in what we recommend to our students. So Srinivasan, I would strongly suggest that you uh, you know talk to us, and then we will take it forward from there. All right, cool. Okay, I'm still not able to see why I am not able to see the questions in Facebook. Give me just a moment, people. Mhm. Okay, looks like I'm going to struggle with that Facebook window today. So I might want to request my colleagues, Jyoti and Sai, to start pasting those say the questions into our Skype session, so that I can start answering them from there. Cool. In the meantime, I'll go on to the next question from YouTube. Okay, so Andy Tanu says, "Hi Arun, I'm AJV client. I have got offer from EIT Napier for applied management course. I would like to know your review about the course as well as about EIT Napier. How is job opportunities?" Okay, and you have written, "I have experience of 5+ years in banking and finance sector. I have MBA finance from Sydney. Would like to also know about demand for financial advisor in New Zealand." Hey, Andy, thank you so much for your question, and very elaborately written. And to follow on from my just mentioned answer to Srinivasan, where I was suggesting that a management course may not be the best thing for people who are not adequately experienced. So I like the fact you've shared. Andy, that you already have 5+ years of work experience, which is good, which is what I just mentioned. And if that is based on that particular background, if you're coming for an applied management course, I think that would suit your profile quite well. So I think for you, the course which has got the word management in it, I think is definitely appropriate. So I'm glad my team did a proper assessment of your profile and was able to suggest the right course for you. As regards Eastern Institute of Technology, or EIT as it is popularly called, very good institution, especially because the main campus in Napier is where it is headquartered. I've been there a few times. I have but the international manager there is a very dear friend of mine called Helen. So Helen and also her boss, who is also the international director. We've had some very good discussions. Very good campus. Napier is a beautiful city. Please go to my YouTube channel and check for my video which I made from Napier on the spot, standing on the beach in Napier, and it's a beautiful part of New Zealand. And Napier is also a city now that's beginning to get up and running, and so the opportunities would be pretty good there for you. And as I keep saying, even if some of you are going to a smaller city for your courses, it doesn't mean that you're restricted to stay there after you complete your course. You can, of course, move from Napier to any other city, including Hamilton or Auckland or Christchurch or Wellington, or any of the other centers where you think there will be the opportunity for you. As regards opportunities for financial advisors, I think it would be there for you because financial advisors again are very required. A lot of people anywhere across New Zealand. What I could do is once you come here into New Zealand, we will, because you're coming in as an AGV client, AGV student, we will also connect you to some of the people in the finance sector here who can also provide you some good insights into the sector in which they're already working. I can connect you to, for instance, a couple of my own personal contacts who are financial advisors, and so you can also get an insight. I'll also connect you to one or two people who are in the banking sector, so you can also have a chat with them and see what is the possibilities for you. But overall, yes, Andy, I think you will do quite well. And as I keep saying, the most important thing that is to be considered for anybody who is planning to come to New Zealand to study and settle is what kind of support you'll get after you reach New Zealand. And I repeat this so many times that it's kind of probably most of you guys and girls who follow my work would know it by heart. But the real drama actually starts after you land in New Zealand, and that is where we, I think, are playing a very important and crucial role for our students because we're talking to them, we are engaging them, we are creating that community, we are providing our personal contacts, we are providing our personal reference when you start applying for jobs or even to rent apartments. And we have helped so many of our students with these references, these contacts, and sometimes just picking up the phone and talking to you and telling you, don't worry, it's all going to be fine. And we are doing those events in different cities. In fact, I think my team has planned another event in Rotorua end of this week. So we are all going there to meet our bunch of students who are already in Rotorua and Tauranga, and we plan to have dinner with them. We sit down and have a chat, and we do that networking. And so, at the mental level, we are creating a nice, comfortable, friendly cocoon for our students because we know they're coming from one culture into a completely alien culture and alien environment. So, and it's good for them to, for you guys and girls to meet somebody like us who's already present here in New Zealand. And and because we live comfortably here, and our body language is very different, and our mind and our wavelengths are slightly different. And I think almost uh, through non wireless kind of a communication mode, you guys, I've noticed that you all pick up that confidence once we all meet and get together. So don't worry, Andy, I think you'll be just fine. And as I said, we will connect you to all our people and contacts and some of our own students who have already completed courses in applied management and financial kind of backgrounds, are already gainfully employed. So we'll connect you to them as well so that you also can hear it straight from the horse's mouth. Okay. Thank you so much for choosing to work with AJV. Much appreciated. So for those of you who would like to work with AJV, that's the contact details. And it says in India, we have set up a toll-free number, and I think we've just discontinued that SMS, so you guys can ignore that. And in New Zealand, the way to contact our office is through those numbers and email address at the bottom. And if you go to our website, hvglobal.com, we also have contact details on the website, and you can also get to see all our team members who would play a role in your journey into New Zealand. Okay, cool. Thank you. Right, I'm gonna look at my. I'm gonna look at my Facebook once again to see if I can figure out why I can't see the questions there. I think I mean it happened to my colleague Mary as well last time, and I know it is a little click somewhere, but sometimes technology confounds us, doesn't it? Okay, I'm going to take just a moment to see if I can bring it back. Well, at least I hope I'm still live. So, and in the meantime, my wonderful, beautiful team, helpful team, has started pasting it into Skype. So I will start reading it out from there. So, question is from Rahul. He says, "Hi, Arun sir, client of AJV. Well done, Rahul, smart boy. Is there a job opportunity for highway engineering in Hamilton?" Okay. Hey, Rahul, good question. And the New Zealand Institute of Highway Technology is right next to our office in Hamilton, by the way. So you will have absolute access to your own AJV office every time you step out of your school. They used to be located somewhere else, but NZIHT has just come into the main street in Hamilton. So that's where you're going to be. And Rahul, to answer your question, and these are not my words, but recently the head of the department of the New Zealand Institute of Highway Technology, he dropped into our office. He wanted to come and say hello to us, so he dropped in, and we had a wonderful chat. And I'm just trying to say, yes, card was here somewhere on my table. But yeah, he came into office and we had a wonderful chat. And he has told me that practically every student who is graduating from this course is getting employed. Why? Because we are having a lot of infrastructure development that's happening across New Zealand, and roads and highways are, of course, a very critical point. In fact, just outside this window of mine where I'm sitting and uh, doing this live broadcast, there is another new motorway that is being constructed to bypass Hamilton, so that people don't have to waste time going through the city. So they're building a bypass. In fact, I can look at it right now from my window. And so there is a lot of activity happening in infrastructure and construction and building in New Zealand, Rahul. So good course choice. I think it's you've chosen it well. And as I keep saying, again, you'll have our support as well. And we will engage you, we will talk to you, we will connect you to our previous students who have already done this, or to any companies that we are familiar with who deal in your particular area. So all good, Matt. I think you've chosen really well. Good institution, good city, and you've chosen AJV as well. So, and of course, I'm sure you're intrinsically brilliant anyway. So, all these factors put together will ensure that you're a success. Okay, so don't stress too much, and warm welcome to New Zealand, and we shall see you here very soon. Okay, cool. Next question is from Bill Hazel, and it says, "Hi, Arun. Good to see you again today. Thank you. I'm not an AJV client. Oh, that's sad, Bill. Yeah. But anyway, I can be reached on number. Would like to know if AJV advises Indian doctors on MCNZ registration, work, and subsequent residency options." Okay. Hey, Bill, the thing was, we don't really get into that aspect of advising about the registration process with the Medical Council of New Zealand, because I think it is a very specific subject oriented process. And I think only you doctors and medical professionals will be able to understand the requirements that you've got to submit and stuff like that. But what we can do, of course, is once you do go through that process of the Medical Council of New Zealand registration process and you get done with it, get in touch with us, and then we could possibly assist you with the rest of your migration process. And definitely, absolutely, I think in your question where you're talking about work and residency options, I think we can play a role definitely in the residency part of it. Work, again, we may not be able to tell you that we will definitely help you to get a job, but like I said, we can connect you, give you generic advice about which places to look at. And there is a pretty big requirement for medical professionals and doctors in New Zealand at the moment. So obviously, I think it's going to be, a good thing. And for most doctors, I think the main challenge is to ensure that you actually get that registration and reach that point where you can then move into New Zealand. So get on with that. And like I said, we may not be able to play a role in that particular part of the process because it's something very subject specific. So you get that done. Once you get it done, get back in touch with us and we'll figure out the rest of it. All right. Thanks, Bill. And you really must become an AGV client. We love to work with smart young people like you who are also going to cater to the requirements here in New Zealand. All right. Cool. Okay. Abhishek Dubey. As usual, it's customary for me to cough. Sorry. Okay, Abhishek Dubey. Hi, sir. Please give some feedback regarding course postgraduate diploma in applied management. Opportunities is good or not after completing course and can get PR through this course. I am AGV student. Hey, Abhishek. I think I started off today's broadcast by talking about getting into a course with the word management in it. Like I said, I would be very careful to choose a course. With the word management in it if you do not have adequate experience, because once you complete a course which says postgraduate diploma in applied management, if I remember, I was talking about another one of our students called Andy, who's had 5+ years of experience, and he's also coming for a course in applied management. So absolutely no problem for somebody who's got a bit of experience, because you have that experience and also the life skill to be able to get out and seek a management position. It may not be in a large organization, even if it's a small organization. I mean, AJB, for instance, we are not a very large organization. We have 35 people spread across New Zealand and India, but we do have a few managers. So potentially you could get it, but I would be very careful to choose a course in applied management in management or with the word in it, if you don't have adequate experience. If you're a person with less than 5 years experience, go back and talk to your AJV advisor, whoever the person is, and if the advisor can review the entire course choice. But if you have 5+ years of work experience, and you also are good in your English, and you're a confident young person who can sit across the table and talk to a potential employer and tell why you need to be given an opportunity, I think it'll be just fine. Okay. Hi, look, and thank you so much for choosing AJB. Much appreciated. Excuse me. Right. There is a question from Nitin Kotian. And Nitin, I have feedback about you from my team, from one of our team leaders. And Nitin, the feedback is that you're just taking information from us and not sharing the pending documents. And you're not kind of cooperating with Aniket, who is your advisor. So Nitin, may I request you please today to take this process forward, and look, at the end of the day, we are not people who are trying to hard sell anything to anybody. Please understand that we are catering to your need. Of course, we have a need as a business as well to acquire good clients and customers and keep growing profitably. But at the same time, it needs to be both the parties coming together and trying to make this thing happen. With it. And we understand, sometimes you might be talking to other companies or organizations, and for whatever reason, you might consider them to be a bit more appropriate for your needs. That's fine. If that is the case, we would really like it if you're kind of honest and tell us, saying, hey, look, we just want to work with somebody else. But in the meantime, it'll be nice if you continue to work with us, because I keep stating why it is good for you to work with AJV. And if you go to our website, to ajvglobal.com, in our services page, there is a PDF which is there, which you can download and have a read at it, read of it, and you will see all the advantages and the services we provide, and the advantages to you from the services we provide. And I'm pretty point blank when I say this, but if you find a better company, go to them. We have no problems with that. But I sit here confident and absolutely certain about our ability to be probably your best coach and guide and friend and mentor once you reach New Zealand. So, but hey, look, if you find somebody better, please go to them. If you intend to continue with us, please cooperate and give your documents. All right. Thanks, Nathan. Okay. Question from Thomas Kuriakos says, which course is better for BTech civil engineers? Hi, Thomas. Definitely continue with your civil engineering course, with your civil engineering subject. So we would strongly recommend a postgraduate diploma or a master's in civil engineering, of course, because again, we have a pretty big requirement of civil engineers at the moment. And in fact, the requirement for our civil engineers and our infrastructure related engineers is so high that government has actually come out with another whole new skill shortage list called the infrastructure and construction skill shortage list, which in itself is testimony of the fact that we actually have a pretty big requirement for these people, which is sustaining. And consistently we are being required to import people to come and join the sector, because we are growing as a country, as an economy here in New Zealand. But unfortunately, we have some skill shortages, because of which civil engineers are definitely in the desired list as well. So please go ahead and speak to your AJV advisor. I hope you're working with AJV. We would love to work with you, Thomas. So for all the reasons I've been mentioning in this particular broadcast, and not only for us to grow as an organization and as a New Zealand-based entity, but also for you, because we will only grow when we service and serve and assist and help good, smart young people like you to succeed in New Zealand. To first come into New Zealand, which means your admission and visa process has to be spot on, and then once you come here, to provide you with all the right support and other opportunities, so that you can go on and become a successful student and future resident and worker here in New Zealand. All right, Thomas. So if you're not already talking to AJV, we would love to we would love to work with you. So please connect with AJV. And the way to connect with us is quite simple, guys. You just have to call us on the toll-free number in India. Please ignore that SMS. I think we just discontinued that particular service. Or you can email us to our offices in India or our office in New Zealand. We recommend that people in India connect with the Indian team, because of the time difference. And if you do connect with the New Zealand team, what happens is at 5 o'clock here, they all go away, and then you guys will kind of just start your work day there in India. So you'll have a 24-hour gap before you start getting any information. So, which is why we strongly recommend that those of you who are in those time zones, India and all those other places, so please get in touch with our Indian team. And those who are already in New Zealand and who still want some um, advice and further services, please contact the New Zealand team during the New Zealand workcast. All right, cool. Okay, I am going to take a sip of water and still trying to figure out why this is not working for me. Okay, that's chicken. That says restricted audience. Man, as good as technology is, sometimes it can be frustrating. Hey, what do you guys think? Okay, I shall continue to read out from. I like the next name, Indiana Jones. Good one, Indiana. Hi, my wife wants to do a master's in electronics and further PhD. Very good. Can you please verify whether current situation is okay? Can spouse and dependent child come with her? Hey, Indiana Jones, fantastic name. Yeah, if your wife takes up a master's in electronics, the spouse can accompany or on a work visa. And if you have a school going age child, then this child would also get the status of a domestic student here in New Zealand. So, yeah, absolutely. I think masters would be a fantastic choice, and electronics is also a very, very good subject choice, because again, electronics is in our skill shortage area, and we have a shortage of people who have competencies and skills and knowledge in the electronics field. So yeah, we would love to work with you, Indiana. And we work with a lot of other students and clients who come with a similar background, and we'll be delighted to put forward some good options for you across New Zealand in different universities. But absolutely, and if she does intend to do a PhD later, I'd say take it one step at a time. I'd say first let her get her master's in electronics done first, and once she does that, you would be eligible for a 3 years post-study work visa. She will get it, and by virtue of her getting it, you would also get an extension of your work visa as well. And in that 3 years, I would strongly recommend that you go on to try and pick up a job that is relevant to the course she's completed. And if you also have your own background, you could potentially also pick up a job related to your background and your qualifications. And so either or might be able to become an applicant for residency and ideally try and crack that residency in those 3 years. But if you still can't, then I would suggest, hey, look, get on to the PhD because that's again a good progression from masters to PhD. And I'm sure after that PhD, she would absolutely crack a job somewhere or the other. So all the best, Indiana. But as I keep saying, it will not be an easy ride. You will require constant support. More than constant support, you require very clear and good information and advice from somebody like myself or my colleagues who are licensed and trained and legally authorized to provide settlement information. Not everybody can talk about residency in New Zealand unless and until they have that particular license, and which is the USP of working with a company like AGV, is that when you work with us, you get unlimited free advice from licensed immigration advisors. We now also have a licensed immigration advisor in India. One of my colleagues, she recently got her license, and another colleague is also on the verge of getting her license. So, in fact, we will, as an organization, we will ensure to check because we know that you guys really are wanting to come to New Zealand for good education. Of course, we know that, but going beyond education, we absolutely know that 99% of you are looking at finding work here in New Zealand and settling down and becoming residents of this country. And we understand that, and which is how I started my seminar in Mumbai when I was there a few weeks ago. And I actually asked them, so how many of you want to go to study in New Zealand? And all the hands went up. And then I said, so how many of you want to study in New Zealand and come back home? All the hands went down. So, and that was pretty telling because I knew that not only knew, I know living as a guy who here in New Zealand that international students put in a lot of money, time, and effort because they want to, of course, get a very good education and qualification from an top quality institution here in New Zealand. But going further, you want to pick up relevant jobs and get into residency. And that is where it is important you work with a company which can see you through the entire pathway because a lot of companies, especially in India and other countries, they probably are very good at doing an admission and visa and putting you on a plane and saying bye bye, and that's the end of the relationship. But what happens after you come to New Zealand is a bigger question, and that is where we as an organization understand it because we this company is built by migrants like us, like you, or potential migrants like you, and we understand what is the real need for all of you, and we understand that the real need is the eventual migration and education being a pathway for that, and that's the reason we are kind of taking this good, clear, firm standard. For all of you who are listening to me right now and who are working with some other company or agency, go and talk to them and say, can you help me after I reach New Zealand? Because my real goal, my real ambition is not only to get a good qualification, but my real goal and ambition is to get migration and settle down and be a permanent resident. Can you help me with that? And if the answer is no, I think you should stop working with them and come and talk to us because that's the reason we are present in India. And there we have licensed advisors who will ensure that your course choice is all for good and will help you to keep moving in that progression. And once you reach here, again, we are a bunch of advisors and licensed advisors who will continue to give you a lot of free information. Okay, so I mean, quite frankly, it is not rocket science, guys, and it's a no-brainer. If some of you still want to go and work with an XYZ in a Bombay or Mumbai or a Chennai or a Kochi or wherever, and then get on the plane, and after that, those guys don't even turn back and look at you. I mean, it's your life, so you guys need to take that call. Okay, cool. Okay, so we have Al Gauhari who says, "Hello, Arun. I want to know the chances for roads and highway engineering to get a job offer after studying graduate diploma level 7 in New Zealand." Hey, Al Gauhari, I just answered that question about 10 minutes ago. The good opportunities for that particular field. And I did also speak to the head of the department from this particular institution, who's now, somebody with whom I have a good banter every once in a while. But yeah, absolutely. And but I think, as I keep stating always, Al Gawhari, is you'll need to work with a company that can support you after you come to New Zealand. So thanks for sharing your number. Our team will get in touch with you, and once you do that, please continue to talk to them. And if you're serious about your future in New Zealand and want to be, kind of guided throughout that entire journey, please work with AJB. All right, cool. Abhishek Dubey. Abhishek, because I'm having a bit of a problem in checking out my questions in Facebook, and as much as I'm trying, I'm just not getting it. I don't know why. I'm clicking on every link there. Mm, I don't know why this is happening. Oh well, at least I'm still live, so it's not like I've lost it. Mhm. Can't get it anyway. Yeah. Thanks, team, for pasting it all to me. Abhishek, your query has not been pasted, but I have feedback from one of our team leaders saying that you have a BCom and 2 years in accounting, and now you're working as a debt collector. So you've applied for postgraduate diploma in accounting, Waikato, and we are waiting for your documents. If your question is it a good course? I think so because you already have a background in accounting, and doing this course is actually a good one, a good thing, because you will get a 3 years post-study work visa. And we will, at least two, three of our students who've gone to the University of Waikato have and done a course in accounting have done pretty well. We'll connect you to them. So, but your documents are awaited, Abhishek. So please send those documents quickly so that we can initiate the process. And that's the other thing, guys and girls, is it's taking way longer than before for visas to be applications to be allocated, and then going to a case officer inside Immigration New Zealand, and then for those decisions to come to us. So please apply early. Don't wait till the last minute, because then it leads to all those unnecessary and unwanted dramas, like where you might get an approval, but the college then says, "Hey, look, the start date is already over, so we have to defer you." So it just creates a lot of very, very unnecessary extra work for all of us. And then for you, it is that disappointment of not being able to go for the month you planned. So please start early. To cut a long story short, please start early. Okay, cool. And don't wait and dilly dally to send your documents, guys. Nowadays, we live in an era where all you guys can pick up a phone and have cam scanner or one of those, and take a picture and send it away. So it's no big deal. So if you guys are dragging your feet, it means that you're not very interested, and we will kind of get that perception, and we may not treat you very seriously. So if you guys are serious, get onto it. Don't waste time. Take your mobile phone, click pictures of your documents, send it across, and I think we will take it forward from there. All right, cool. Okay, Yuvraj Mida asks, sir, I want to know about entrepreneur work visa, investment of New Zealand $100,000 and 120 points. What are the chances to get the visa in this category? I have good funds in my bank account in India. Okay. Hey, Yuvraj, it's a good category, the entrepreneur work visa, but it's also very complicated because a lot of people, because 100,000, let's face it, is not a lot of money. 100,000 is really not a big amount of money where you can invest and create an industry or a company which will benefit New Zealand and all those sorts of things. And what they look for in the entrepreneur work visa is that your business plan has to be spot on, and it needs to have components which will benefit New Zealand, and ideally export oriented as well. So it's not a, frankly, it is not a very easy pathway, Yuvraj, especially with only 100K. It's not, a lot of money. I'm not trying to be disrespectful about your fund situation, but I'm just saying, I, like, for instance, my company's overhead would be, in a couple of months, we would probably just spend 100K. That sort of a scenario is what it is. So, uh, my other suggestion to entrepreneur people seeking the entrepreneur visa, you will have to be present in New Zealand to come in and study this situation, this economy, and the opportunities, and in, I don't know which particular industry or business line you intend to get into, but to understand what are the dynamics of that. And so even for a guy like me who lives in New Zealand, if suddenly somebody asks me, how good will it be to start a car dealership, I wouldn't know, because I'm not into that particular trade. My trade is education and migration. So I'll have 100% knowledge and confidence about my line of work. But if suddenly somebody says, "Hi, give me information about car dealerships," I wouldn't know. I don't know what are the intricacies of importing from Japan or wherever, and I wouldn't have a clue. And which is why I recommend for people like you who have a desire to set up a business in New Zealand by investing a lot of money is you do two things. One, you first come on a reconnaissance visit to New Zealand to understand how was it, and we can help you with that. We can help set up that recce for you. We can create set up some meetings for you. We did it for a few people. In fact, the last one was quite a famous media personality from India. He was involved with TV channels and stuff like that. So we actually set up meetings for him with so he came for 2 weeks and met these people from different TV channels here in New Zealand and went back. So I'd say you will first have to be in New Zealand for a period of time and do a recce and go back and decide whether you still want to pursue your entrepreneurial dream. Or, and now this is probably a much more valid suggestion. Instead of 100K, why don't you invest $20,000 into a course, come for a postgraduate diploma or a master's course, which will give you 4 years of stay in New Zealand. So you could potentially be in New Zealand for 4 years for $20,000 of investment, which you will earn back because you will get your part time and your full time work visa anyway. And while you're here in New Zealand, I would suggest you understand what are the opportunities in your field or some other field, and then you take a call whether you want to put in a large amount of money into an investment in New Zealand. Yuvraj. So that's my honest and very sincere suggestion to people, either who want to come on entrepreneur. First, either you come here for 2 to 3 weeks and AJV can help you with your visitor visa and setting up appointments and all that. Of course, we will, ask you for lots of documents to ensure that you are a genuine visitor and not somebody who plans to come as a visitor and then try and do something which is not correct. So we will, of course, seek that kind of background information from you. If you are, we are the people. We will set you up with the meetings and other things. We will, of course, charge a consulting fee for all these things. But if you think no, 3 weeks is not enough, I need to be there in New Zealand for a longer period of time, then I would strongly recommend considering the study pathway because it will give you the time to be present in New Zealand. And then once you get onto your work visa, I'm quite certain you could also set up a business and be self-employed. I'll have to research and come back to you on that, but I think that possibility exists that you could be self-employed. So that will give you the legal right to be present in New Zealand and set up a business as well. So, but like I said, this is my suggestions to you. Make up your mind if you would like to take advantage of our 2 or 3 weeks visit or want to come on a longer period on a student visa. And then I would recommend you make a much larger investment into New Zealand. All right, Yuvraj, we don't like to suggest things to people where the chances are low and the investment is high, and after 5 6 months you are disappointed, we are disappointed, everybody's disappointed. Instead, I would strongly recommend that you either do that 2 3 weeks trip or you come on a longer student visa, stay here, study the situation, and for that 20K which you will earn back anyway, you will also get an international degree, maybe in business management which will help you to become a better business person anyway. All right. So I hope that makes sense, Yuvraj. Yeah. Thomas Courier course. Is it possible to get admission for February intake? Absolutely, Thomas. Yeah, I think if you do it like now, don't wait too long because we are almost reaching the end of the term, no, the runway, as I call it, to be able to get into the February intake. Also, because immigration is taking much longer nowadays because of the pressure, the increase in the number of applications that are coming in. So I'd strongly recommend that you do it like now. If you do it now, definitely you can still get into your Feb intake. All right, cool. Ramandeep saying, hello, sir. I'm an HAB client. I want to take up master's in construction management. I am a civil engineer with 3 years of experience. I have just one doubt that is about PR. I know New Zealand has made it really hard. So just wanted to know, will I be able to get PR? Hey, Raman, New Zealand has not made it hard. New Zealand, in fact, if anything, has made it a lot easier because once you come and do a course at a master's level in here, you would actually get 3 years post-study work visa, which is a long enough time, and you already have experience, and you are already a civil engineer, and once you're here, and there are shortages in the construction field, genuinely shortages. I mean, the government of New Zealand can't put up a list on their official immigration website and talk about something if it is not there. So obviously it's a genuine list out there which is saying we are dying to attract the people from your particular background. So hey, look, don't worry. You will, if you go step by step, you will get to that PR. And because at each of those steps, you will require good coaches, good guides. That's what AJV is all about. And you're coming as an AJV student, so we will be there for you. We will connect you to some of our past students who have completed a similar course and now are already in the industry. We will may help to make those connections for you and continue to guide you at each and every step. But don't worry too much, Raman. Your course is good. Your subject is fantastic. There are requirements in this field, skill shortages in this field, and you're coming through AJB. So I think overall you will be just fine. All right. Don't worry too much about it. And thank you so much for choosing AJB. Much appreciated. Rudra Mode. Hello, sir. What about Bachelors of Information Technology? Please share your thoughts on this. Is there any future in it? Is it worth studying IT in New Zealand? Rudra, good questions. I'm laughing because yeah, I like the way sometimes you guys ask us questions like, is it worth studying in New Zealand? And one of the other funny questions that people ask is, are there jobs in New Zealand? No, no, there are no jobs. We're all cutting grass and eating it every day, surviving on that. Anyhow, Rudra, you're again choosing. I'll tell you the advantages of doing a bachelor's in information technology in New Zealand. First and foremost, IT is again in our skill shortage area. So we are trying very hard to attract IT background people into our country. IT is not only in our skill shortage area, but IT is also in our identified future growth area, which means the government is consciously trying to, encourage these particular industries in New Zealand. So definitely good from both these particular angles. And the beauty of doing a bachelor's, Rudra, is that you will spend 3 whole years in New Zealand as a student, where you'll be studying and as well as doing part-time work. And after you do that, you'll get a further 3 years of post-study work visa because you're going to be doing a bachelor's course. So definitely, 6 long years in New Zealand and in a subject area which is in our long-term skill shortage, list. And absolutely, and from just the way you've written your question, I can see your English is quite good. So all these combinations, and if you're coming through, I guess somebody chose to call me just now. One of my students. Okay, so yeah, so I think overall it's a good choice, and I think the last thing you will need to absolutely consider is to work with AJV because we can guide you at each and every step. All right, cool. Ivan Thomas, hi Arun, hope all is well. If INC are considering scrapping ENSCO, what will criteria will they look at instead? I'm 1 year in IT support and oil and gas sector from the UK. Is IT still in demand? Absolutely, Ivan. Ivan, my good friend from the UK. Yeah, hi, Ivan. Good to say hello to you after a while, Matt. Hope you have been well and in the pink of health and earning tons of money. But yeah, I mean, I think I'm quite in favor of scrapping the ANSCO cause it did create some problems even for me as a legal professional who had to sometimes take a job offer and match it to. I think to look at it in a slightly broader perspective, guys, I think they're just trying to make it a lot easier and smoother as a process because I think it is a little too complex sometimes. So and let's face it, eventually every government or every department is trying to make things easier for themselves and for their clients. And in this instance, for Immigration New Zealand, the clients will be all you people out there who want to come into New Zealand and migrate here or study here and settle here and all those kinds of things. So IT will continue to stay in demand because IT is become the backbone for practically every industry in the world, including New Zealand. So absolutely, Ivan, I don't think you will have any trouble with trying to move ahead with and scrapping the answer is good because sometimes a job description that an employer gives, like for instance the job descriptions I give for my employees and my company may not necessarily match word by word or sentence by sentence to the ansco, and sometimes it can create a. In fact, today I'll have to sit and write out a letter to one of the visa officers who has raised a query for one of my prospective employees who is about to join my team here in Hamilton. And to me, again, see that whole query wall came out because of the ANSCO. So I'm glad it's getting scrapped because I think visa officers should also be respected for their intelligence and their ability to interpret a simple offer letter and say, yeah, this is a genuine offer letter, and these, the tasks that we are that the employer has said in that particular offer letter are good enough and of benefit to New Zealand, and hence I will give a visa. So I think it's actually a good move, Ivan. All right, hope to see you here in New Zealand soon, Matt. Cool. How am I doing on? Okay, my team is. Somebody's already rung the bell. Okay, so that's you guys know what that is, right? That means the time is up for today. And before I kind of go away, so that's again once again our contact details. You can contact Team AJV in India, and I strongly recommend that people in that time zone contact our Indian team, or you can contact us in New Zealand. And I recommend again people in this time zone to contact the team here in New Zealand. Makes life a lot easier, especially so yesterday was a holiday in India, for instance, and so our team was off, and sometimes there are holidays here in New Zealand. So if you connect with this team and you are actually based in a country, and sometimes we have a holiday, and so we may not be able to revert back to you immediately, while you're probably seeking immediate answers. Likewise, so I would strongly recommend please connect with people, whoever is present in those time zones. And only yesterday I was discussing with one of my senior managers about beginning to set up our advisors in other countries as well. And so we plan to have, a ring of advisors all across the world, hopefully soon, guys. And AJB is truly going to become a global agency, and we would like to work with people from different parts of the world. Currently, our majority of our clients do come from India because, of course, that's one of the largest sending countries like China. So, yeah, we are happy to work with our Indian clients, but we are equally happy to work with any high quality client or prospective migrant who can benefit New Zealand, and in return you end up getting one of the best lifestyles possible on earth. Okay, so one last question I'm going to answer, and I'm going to wind it up for today. So this question is from Jayasuriya, who is in touch with one of my colleagues called Ruben. So Jayasuriya has asked, I did BSc aircraft maintenance science, fantastic, but I have 1 year of experience in airline customer care center. During my course period, I did a certification in airline customer service from IATA. And now I decided to study in New Zealand, taking course in hospitality and tourism management. Please give me your suggestion in choosing the course. All right. So now, and I'm just reading through um, the comments from Ruben as well, Jayasuriya, before I come back and answer you. And Ruben's come up with a very valid uh, career progression sort of thought for you, Jayasuriya, and it says that your IATA certification will definitely help him with getting a job into the airlines industry, which falls under the domain of hospitality. I will probably agree with that. In fact, I will agree with that, Jayasuriya, because IATA is again very specific to the travel tourism industry, and hospitality and tourism management, the course you're planning to take up, would you will actually benefit from the fact that you already have certification from IATA, which is fantastic. And yeah, but I'm just a little concerned that a guy like you who did a BSc in aircraft maintenance science, which is a core technical engineering kind of a thing, and you are moving away from that engineering technical sort of a background and moving into a more soft skills, if I can use that particular word, in hospitality and travel and tourism. So think about that. If you can actually get back into engineering, I think it might be useful, because you didn't. It was not a 1 year course you did there. You did a 3 years BSc in aircraft maintenance science. So, and that's a valuable, say, a piece of knowledge to have inside your head. And if you are able to get back into that, I would strongly recommend, because technical background people are always better positioned to find eventual jobs and settlement in New Zealand. I'm not saying you will not find jobs and be able to settle with a background in travel and tourism and the IATA certification, but I'm just saying that somebody with a more technical kind of background is, or technical like in engineering technical stuff, I think, yeah, you guys will do much better if you continue to stick to it. But for whatever reason, you've kind of moved away from the technical side of your life, and you kind of think, no, that was too much of oil and grease for me, and I'd rather sit in a nice clean airlines office with a nice smart jacket and help people to travel around the world. So be it. But that's choice and a decision that you've got to make. And whatever you guys decide, girls decide, we are there to support you. All right. So, hey, look, as always, thank you so much for the wonderful opportunity to come back and speak to all of you again. And so, my awesome colleague Mary is going to come live tomorrow. And then my other awesome colleague, Tulika Mehra, who is our latest licensed immigration advisor, is going to make her live debut on Friday. I'm actually putting her on the spot by announcing it today so that she doesn't back off and run away somewhere. But hey, look, we guys are working very hard as a team to give very clear, honest, simple, straightforward advice, so that all of you know, because it's a two-way street. New Zealand needs your talent as much as you want a good life in New Zealand. So talk to us. We will make that match and ensure that you're happy and New Zealand is happy, and together we will all make a better world. All right, kia ora, kakiteano, which is see you later, and pomarie. Good night. Lovely to be back again.